When Kristen Lazarini, a watercolor artist, came to me, she said she wanted to host an art retreat in Thailand. But she also came to me with a doubt about whether someone would pay her for an in person high ticket experience like a retreat. Now, I can see why she felt that fear. She had no email list, she had less than 3,000 followers on Instagram, and she didn't have the sales systems to sell in person experiences like this. In fact, she hadn't ever even sold a low ticket workshop or a course in Thailand before. She had this beautiful vision, but along with that, she also had this heavy feeling that selling, especially something high ticket, is something that car salesmen do in like a weird, icky, and gross way. You can relate, right? A lot of artists I speak to kind of feel like this when they think about selling something. So she was stuck in this loop of maybe I'll host an art retreat someday, but I don't know how, and I probably can't. There was imposter syndrome, there was hesitation around selling, and there was a deep fear of fully stepping into her power. But you see, once she committed to her vision 100% and started working with us one-on-one to like bring it into her reality, everything shifted and you're gonna love her results. She went on to successfully launching her first art retreat in Thailand. She got several people to sign up to this beautiful experience that she curated in Chiang Mai. She generated around $9,800 in revenue and $4,800 in profits. And she created an experience for her people that was so powerful that one of her guests said, I've never felt this free. The most beautiful part is she stopped hiding. She built her sales system and a beautiful retreat offer and learned how to step into her identity as a leader and a guide. And most importantly, she became that artist CEO and the creative visionary in our space that she always knew she could be. So this is the inspiring story of Kristen, and I want you to see how it all unfolded. So let's dive into our conversation. For those who don't know, can you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and what do you do in your art business?
Sure. So my name is Kristen Lazarini. I am the artist and owner of the business Watercolors of Glory. I produce watercolor originals, art, calendars, prayer cards. Yes, all things watercolor. And what my watercolor art is all inspired by my life here in Southeast Asia. My family and I have been living here in a couple different countries in Southeast Asia for the past 10 years. And so it's been such a joy to me. I wasn't an artist when I got here, but through this whole journey of just seeking beauty in these places where sometimes it's harder to find, and then really wanting to share that beauty that I have found in this situation, in these communities with the world at large, back in the West, where we're from in the US, or just anyone else who has eyes to see the beauty that is there. I also have begun to really enjoy sharing that. I've seeking beauty, hunting beauty, as one of my sons calls it. Share that with others through workshops. And then most recently, I got to host my first watercolor retreat here in Thailand, which was just amazing. And I'm super excited about continuing that and offering that to other creatives and other artists and other, whether it be watercolor or whatever else, to help them come. And I especially include in my retreats this idea of setting the table for them to come and just have that space to create in whatever way feels freeing and delightful, wonderful, all those things to them. And I love incorporating elements of that life here, the uniqueness of a life here in Southeast Asia. So letting them see different pieces of nature, different parts of the culture, different parts of the people. So I feel like that's something that makes my retreats unique, that added aspect of culture for this very unique and beautiful place.
That is beautiful. And I'm just so excited to share the story of how we brought out this unique offering and this beautiful, unique contribution that you, as a unique creative soul, gets to, have this impact in the world. Let's go back to before you joined our one-on-one program, Creative Course Launchpad. So
Mhm.
what did your art business look like back then? And what were some of your beliefs about hosting a retreat and launching it or selling such a high ticket offer at that point before you joined us?
At that point, I was mostly involved in just painting along with others. So painting different art collabs or challenges on Instagram and online. And everything that was business oriented was basically like, oh, I've sold too many paintings to consider this a hobby now. I should probably sign up to pay debt. Like it was almost like people were buying too much for me to still consider it not a business. I was like, okay, I guess I have to call it a business. Or I guess I have to do this. And it was like it was a happy problem to have to be in
Mm.
demand in these different places. But that mindset of just like that very much there's no way they mean that. Like they're just buying because they mean nice. But if they're buying enough for me to need to make it a business, like that's a mindset shift that I know I needed to have, but I didn't know how to go about doing that. To gain the confidence to be like, no, I am a watercolor. For a long time, I wouldn't even call myself a watercolor artist, but like, no, I'm an artist and I'm a business owner. And like, this is a gift that I can offer to my
Mm.
community, not only in the US, where I'm from in Texas, but also here in Southeast Asia. And to not offer it in a joyful way is a crime. Like that's just this needs to be out like it needs to be
Yes.
given as a gift and instead of
Yes.
seen as like, oh, are you sure? You know, that imposter syndrome, I think that many of us deal with. So I had gone on a watercolor retreat in the US during one of the times we were back in the States and just really loved the idea, really loved the concept, and got to go with some really neat ladies that I had painted with online for a really long time. And just a thought came to me of just as much as I loved it, there
Mm.
were things that my creative soul was craving that was not part of that retreat, nor is it really part of most of the offerings that I was seeing online. And so
Mm.
I came home and was talking to my husband, and I would dream like, okay, if I was going to do a retreat, I would want to make sure like this is if I got to, and my husband finally one day was like, just so are you going to do this yet or not? I was like, well, I can't do that. Like, I don't know how to do that. And so that's when I'd been following you for several years. And that's when I started seeing your posts about the creative
Mm.
course launchpad or just the idea of that. And I was like, is that even possible? And then I had such a low following on Instagram. I didn't have a email list. I didn't have all these things that in my head
Mm.
and what other people would say, oh, you have to have this. You have to do this before that. You have to be doing this before that. Just so many things. And while they're not wrong, I set a lot of them up as just like unsurmountable barriers that I would never
Mm.
be able to overcome. So yeah, so just that idea, it was more like my husband kept saying, you should do this. And I think I kind of half went into the call wanting me to be like, oh no, like wait until you have this and then call me back and we'll talk
Mm.
about it. And so that I could tell my husband, like, see, look, I really can't do it. I'll just have to wait until whatever.
Mm.
And then your answer was not, that was not your answer.
Unfortunately for you, my answer was heck yes, you can absolutely do this, but we got to put in
Yes.
the
Okay.
work. So let's get started on this.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
So first things first, I just want to say shout out to supportive husbands. Like truly, like what a king, your husband, my
Yes.
husband,
He is.
like all the
Mhm.
husbands of like artists who see our potential
Or the
in us,
wives of the.
or the wives of like the men, exactly. But like
Yeah.
our partners who
Yes.
see potential in us even
Yes.
before we
Yes.
admit it, because deep down, I believe that we as creatives, we know what we're capable of, and that's exactly
Mhm.
what scares us and why we find all these excuses and unsurmountable barriers, like you so beautifully put. This is why I
Mhm.
can't do this. But from their angle, they're like, excuse me, like you've been capable of doing this for like more than a
Yeah.
year now. Can you get moving on this already? So
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah.
your amazing supportive king who nudged
Absolutely.
you on this, right?
Yes.
Quick little pause here. If you're watching this and thinking, you know what, I also have all these beautiful, art teaching ideas, both in person and online, that I want to bring into reality. But I don't know how to turn this beautiful vision I have into, an actual offer, like authentic marketing and sales systems and all the back end setup that it needs. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. You probably just need the first few steps you need so that you can start taking action on your dream. So just DM me on Instagram or email me. I've left all the links below, and just tell me what you're working on and we'll take it from there. Okay, back to Kristen's story. Okay, so what then made you say yes to us working together? Like, what was the moment where you knew you just couldn't keep doing things the same way and that you had to seek one-on-one mentorship and support?
Mhm. It was again just in conversations with my husband. It came to that point of I either need to stop
Mm.
talking about this, like stop dreaming about a retreat because I'm gonna drive us crazy, or I need to do what's necessary to have this into the world, to have this like done. And so And then it came down to money for us. We live in an unusual situation, and that's not a small amount. And so, but I just remember talking to my husband and him saying like, "Are you ready to put in the work that it's going to take?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Then," I mean, neither of us are never like, "Oh, whatever, several $1,000s, like whatever." Like we're not like that. Like we don't have it.
Mhm.
And he was just like, if you're sure you're gonna do this, then let's give it a try because you're either gonna keep talking about it and annoy everybody,
Mhm.
or just put in the work. Let's see what comes of it. And so I think that was a moment where it's like both of us were like, okay, let's figure out how to make this happen. And so we went for it. And I called you back and signed my life away for the next 4 months.
Oh, so it was really awesome to see you take that big leap of faith. But I'm just a little curious, like what even about us made you take that big leap of faith for you? I mean, even financially, you know?
Yeah. For me, and we talked about other people doing this to us, to me, right? For me, to be in your community following you for so many years, I think when I first started was 2020, is during COVID, is when I first started painting. And one of your workshops you did on Skillshare was like the first time I painted something and finished it and was like, oh my gosh, like I would hang that up and I still have it hung up at our house in Myanmar where we live. And so, and just tips from that point, like the things that you had done that I had been a part of had gained my trust. Like you did it well and you followed through. And so to see that over and over again, like you weren't just some new person I met all of a sudden, even like it wasn't even like, oh, the sales pitch just got me. It was more like I had seen you follow through for so many years. And
Hmm.
then now with this too, it's like, well, okay, she's saying she's going to do it. And I've seen her follow through all these other times, then you had my confidence. And then I think the final 10% to like get me over the decision hump was just, I felt like on our first call, like the pre
Hmm.
decision call, it was, you knew all my numbers. You knew how many, like I had a low following on Instagram. Like I didn't have an email list. But already you were already talking about like, okay, but that's not an insurmountable thing.
Hmm.
This is just how we deal with it. Like we take like, okay, it's not okay, get to this point so you can fit into my strategy. It was like, where are you right now so
Yeah.
that we can build a strategy for you? And I think that's what for me was like, okay, I'm not expected to go on some cookie cutter situation where I now have to make up the difference because I didn't have what so and so had
Yeah.
and still do all the other stuff. Like, no, this is going to be a tailorized strategy for me in my current situation, and let's go from there. And you also didn't sugarcoat, like, you never made it seem like it was a negative or like I had done something or I had failed in any way, but it's just like, we just have to figure out how to do this. And it's like, you never sugarcoated that it would be hard work. You weren't trying to push me into some other thing that didn't
Hmm.
fit my numbers or my situation.
Yeah. And I think that's really important when you're seeking one-on-one mentorship because there are lots of one-on-one mentorship where they say it's going to be one-on-one, but then they're going to put you through a group program with like a cookie cutter formula, and you gotta then feel a little bit insecure about like, well, like these people are going through it and they have those many numbers. How do I make that even work? Because it's not even possible, right? So for us, we have worked with artists who have had less than 1,500 followers on Instagram, zero email lists, to artists who have like more than 100,000 followers and viral views. And they did have an email list, but also that was a stagnant email list. But for some reason, all of you guys have been reviving your email list, which has been like, oh, yes, like this is the biggest win that we wanted to get you in our work together. It's for you to get real serious about your email list and understand the importance and set up the whole thing. So when you came to me, like I see possibility. Because
Yeah.
when someone like you've like made that mental shift within yourself that you're like, I got to put this thing out in the world. So the commitment is 100% coming from you. That means you're going to take 100% responsibility. Then my job as a mentor is, okay, this is where you are right now. What straight strategies are going to work for you in the unique situation that you're in? And that might not be the strategy that's working for someone who's going viral. Like their path is completely different, right? So that was our number one priority, is to customize your strategy for you and also not use like course launch strategies for high ticket retreat strategies. They're also very different. So we use different strategies for you. All right. So once you joined Creative Course Launchpad, what stood out to you early on? Like, was there a moment where things started to click, or you thought, oh, like this is how things are done. Oh, this is different in how you run an art business.
I think the first month, I remember just being like, what am I doing? I think it took like a month to just be like, oh no. But there was still so much, like I didn't understand how to do a reel. Like I didn't
Mm,
even understand like full like I don't
I
like t what
remember.
are we text over like what it I was talking no and like you were talking about the lead magnet the first call and I was like, why are we talking about magnet? Like what are we talking about? Like, I do not understand. But it was like, I was just trying to say, like, I should know what this is. I don't like, what are we talking about? And so, just like, oh my gosh, I know nothing. And but then it's still the same thing as like when y'all became aware that I didn't understand anything, then I was like, okay, stepping back. Like, this is what this is. This is what we're talking about. This is no, this is what we're doing. I was discouraged with how much I didn't know. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like, how can I possibly learn all this and still get all this together. But I was like, hey, we're just gonna have to. I feel like that first month it was kind of like, let me fit it in around. I mean, I also have 5 kids. We live overseas. We have immigration trips I have to do every month. You know, all these things like and y'all knew of that, but just it was kind of like, okay, I'll fit it in and we can do here and there. But then the amount of what I just didn't know, I think about a month in, I was like, I either have to put in the time to really understand all this stuff or like this isn't gonna work. And like, so to click, I think the first thing I felt good about was the email list, which is hilarious because for a year I'd been like, no, I'm not like I hate writing emails. Like I don't even want to like that. No, I just don't even like to write. Like no. And so I was just like, that was the thing I was probably dreading the most when
Mhm.
in our strategy time was to having to do the emails. Like this is going to be terrible. I don't even know what to say. And
Yeah.
then that was the thing I really enjoyed the most, like to be able to share things that I was learning and things I was processing and the tools that you guys connected me with. I mean, even just as simple, I didn't know what ChatGPT was. And like that we've been in Southeast Asia without at times without internet. Okay. So in my defense,
Hmm.
but just to like, how do I use it for me, not to write it so that I'm passing it off like onto ChatGPT. Oh, just do it for me and I'll just but no, it was me and I got to use my thoughts and my words and then just like ChatGPT would help me like here's how you can format like here's where you would put a picture and here's where you do the button. Okay, this grammar's wrong. And just polishing, but it was me, not
Mm. Yeah.
something else. And so like that really became a joy. And after that, I think the first couple emails that I was like, wait, I am kind of good at that. Then I was like, okay, then this other stuff still may not be my favorite,
Hmm.
but I have this thing that I am good at. And I think whenever you were like, these emails are good, I was like, okay, I can do something. I think that was like the turning point for me of just going like, this is a grind. I'm never going to be good at this. It all looks terrible to like, no, I have something that I'm good at. And this other stuff I will improve over time. I think that like I had already decided to do it, but that was a point where I was like, I feel like I can do it. Like
Yeah.
this is okay. It's okay. Like it's gonna come.
Yeah. I remember how massive that learning curve was for you in the first 1 month, right? But from like not even knowing how to edit reels. I remember, I think one of the things that we were like going back and forth on was like, how do you make your reels 9:16 ratio? Like, like fill up the whole
I didn't
screen.
even
Like
know
it
that was
kept
a
cutting
thing. I was
out
like,
the whole time.
it was like, I was like, it's not just like a post. And you're like, no. I was like, well, how do I know? Like, I don't know what format to video it in. Like, what are you talking about?
So you went from like not knowing any of this stuff to like figuring it all out. And I could see there was like some resistance in the beginning, but then I think what is really admirable is you had all of these resistance. I mean, who likes learning new things? It's not even as like enjoyable as watercolors are. Like you don't get to play with pretty colors when you're doing tech stuff, but you stuck with it. You really, really worked through it. And I think you gave it your all. And that is what sets you apart. What sets you up for longer success is because it sucked really hard, but you were like, no, I'm going to do this. And you did it. And to see you go from like just completely being like, I hate writing emails to now really enjoying emails. And your emails were good. So it's not that you can't use AI, it's just that where does AI come in? So it's, I always say, like I used to tell you, human touch first, human touch last. It's your thoughts. AI is just organizing it for you, but at the end of the day, you're putting your magic first and last when you're writing with it. So it was really awesome to see you go to loving your emails. That's what you said in our graduation calls. My favorite part is now writing emails to my list. And I'm like, oh my God, this is her in her first year. I wish that was me. I wish I could go back. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So, talk to me a little bit about what was the hardest part of this journey for you in our 4 months together, and how did you move through it with the support that you received from me and Naharsh in the program?
I think the selling,
Mm,
because I really did not want to have to get on Instagram DMs and like try to do the sell, one on one. Or I
mm,
didn't really want to have to like feel like I was having to talk someone into anything, and I think till the end even after I think we finished, that wasn't quite I wouldn't say it was clicking. It was like one of those like, okay, I have to do one on one, like to try to follow up with people that have expressed interest. And I don't want to feel like a like a car salesperson. And it's just my upbringing and different things were playing into that like really hardcore. And so it's like I had gotten to the point where it's like I can give the offer and I can get the links and I can make it all pretty and I can do the website and I can do the email and I can do all this stuff, but like I don't want to have to message them at the end and like have to like I saw it, blah blah blah. But that's how my last two sales came in, actually last three.
mhm. Yeah.
And it didn't feel as bad as I was fearing. And I think that was the thing for everything that I felt resistant on. I just was like, I'm going to decide for this time period, like, even if I don't like it, or even if I maybe feel like I don't agree with, I want to do this for forever, I'm going to try it. And we had some discussions about some things. I was like realigning some things to,
Yeah.
for me. And so, but it was still like, there's just some things like you just have to do it. And so I was
Yeah.
just going like, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I signed up for this. Like, I'm going to do it Tripty's way or way. And then it's like, and then I realized because I was like, remember the reels. Like I didn't understand anything. And I was like, just try it this way. And then later, once I finally understood it, then I can make it mine. Like then I can add my stuff or my flavor or my personality or whatever it is. And so anything new that I was just really resistant on, then I was like, I have to go back and just like, no, I'm just going to do it. Once I understand it, then I can add my own personality or can adapt it to myself.
Mhm.
So the last thing I think was the selling online. And then my last three sales came through the conversation, one-on-one conversation. And it wasn't as awful as I thought.
Yeah.
And then people were nice. And then they came. And so I just had to remember those things of like those things that I'm so afraid of, the things, oh no, they're absolutely going to be mean to me or
Mm,
be super negative or hardcore. And it's like, but they weren't. And so then
mm,
going into the next conversation, you have more confidence of like, but the last person wasn't rude about it. The last person wasn't saying, and so just carrying that on into the next one, but just having to choose, like, I'm just going to start somewhere. Like and it's going to be clunky and it's like a kid learning to walk. They don't know how to do it at first. You have to just start. And then over time, it gets more smooth and gets better and it can be your own style.
yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Yes. I guess the one thing that you still need to answer is like, how did you move through this hard part where selling was feeling just so icky to you in the beginning? And you had, I remember us working a lot in our one-on-one calls, multiple calls we worked through, child like people pleasing tendencies that stem from childhood and like the hiding and the part where you said like I'm ready to do all of the software stuff, okay, but don't ask me to talk to people like one on one. It feels weird to me. So this
Yeah.
hard part, like how did you move through it with the support that you got from the program? So like from our calls
Mhm.
and our Telegram support and stuff.
Yeah, during the program, it was really good. And there was seasons where I forgot that you guys were available, and then I would try to do it on my own, and I'm like, no, I just can't, I just can't. And then remembering a week or two, no, there was like I need to tell them like that was really hard, or this happened, or this is what they said, and I didn't have a reply, and I didn't know where to go from there. But to eventually to get in that rhythm of like I have you guys to come to. I could send you a screenshot of what someone said and just like what would be your thoughts on replying or because it was that balance of not wanting to be pushy for
Mhm.
myself, like wanting to be so far away from being pushy that I wasn't even able to really present the offer well a lot of it's especially in the one-on-one conversations, but also needing to balance that with being confident, like I know what I am offering has value,
Yeah.
and present and get helping them, the person on the other side, see that value,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be in a way that is like, no, everyone's not a fit for this retreat. Everyone isn't going to be here, nor should everyone be here. And so that mindset too of just valuing myself and what I've done as well helped me gain the understanding of, even when they say no, it might be a good thing. It might just not be aligned with this retreat, or just may not be the right person, may not be the right time. They may not be in the right season to be able to come and enjoy it. That was really helpful to have someone to come back to, and you guys have two of you guys to come back to for the encouragement. And especially, I remember there was one day I was spinning out about something. I don't remember what happened. Someone said something. They could have said anything, but just I was like spinning out, and then your response wasn't making me feel bad for spinning out. It was, that was rough. That person could have said that, not like, they didn't have to do it like that.
Mm.
You be upset. Take whatever time, be upset. Then the decision point is like, are you going to stop your business and never talk to anybody else ever again? Or are you going to do what's necessary to like have the next conversation, post the next whatever, have the next email? And so I think that was really helpful, that mindset of like, I can be upset. Some
Mm.
things are worthy of being upset. Go be mad, go be frustrated, go do what's necessary. And then when you're right, like, then come back. Now we're going to do the next thing and just get back on the horse.
Exactly. I was literally just, you stole the words right out from my brain. I was like, yes, you get back on the horse,
Yeah.
because we're humans running business. We can't be expected to not have emotions. We can't be expected to not have emotional reactions that are like subconscious, that are stemming from like some of our childhood programming. We are all like this. We're allowed to be upset. We're allowed to have a tantrum, roll around in our own shit. Like we are allowed to do that. But at some point, you're gonna have to be done rolling around and be like, okay, I'm gonna flick all of this out, take a shower, wash it all off, and then get back up on the horse. I think like
Mhm.
one thing that really I feel like helped you also move through that immense resistance that you had in terms of I don't want to make people feel bad with my sales conversations was the accountability, right? Because I was like, how many conversations have you had? Have you done any follow-ups? So those were like the critical things where, sometimes it's just useful for someone else to just like check in on us, where then we don't have any excuse because we're not doing it for ourselves. Like, okay, we're doing it just because she's asking me to, I'll just go and do it. And that can be so useful to put in those initial reps because if you're not used to selling, if you have these like deep-seated beliefs that you're inconveniencing someone when you're marketing, you're like pushing someone into a sale when all you're doing is just like really helping them follow up, right? Because I always say when you're making a sale, you're not forcing people to decide yes, you're just
Mhm.
making them arrive at a decision. And that decision can be no, that's totally fine. But help them make a decision. Give them an opportunity to say no. And also, when you're selling something high ticket like a retreat, is when you're having those one on one conversations and you're making an offer, you're making an invite for them to come and enjoy at your retreat. The faster you get the no's, the faster you get to a yes,
Yes. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like just get those no's out of the way, right?
Mhm.
So that was something that for you was like really important and you moved through the discomfort, which is really awesome. So tell me, Kristen, what changed by the end of our 4 months together, both in terms of real results, like some metrics, give us some numbers, and how do you see yourself now as an artist or a retreat
Mm.
leader?
I've been thinking about this a lot in the past couple weeks, even more so. The mindset for me is just we're always growing and learning and should be learning new things, or else we're just boring people who that just sounds sad. And so for me to realize how I did something really big and really hard. And there was rough patches along the way. There was something like it was really clunky. It was awful. Even some of my YouTube videos like I have out there, it's like not great. But I learned so much from that, and now I can take that forward into whatever else I'm doing. And so to stop waiting until it's going to be all perfect and everyone's going to like it and just start, I'm going to do the best I can. And then when I see that, okay, I messed that up or that's not as good as it could be, let me
Mm.
take that to the next thing. Like the goal isn't even perfection. The goal is to continue to learn and to grow and to learn the next thing and learn the next thing. And it's already serving me because even in the past 4 months, like the Instagram algorithm has changed. So
Mm.
stuff I was wanting to do, 6 months ago, it's like, why that's not really helping anymore. And so like to be able to learn and to adapt and to be a lot nicer to myself about it and to stop beating, I would have a lot of emotional energy gone from just beating myself like, oh, that was so stupid. Like, why'd you do that? Instead of like, okay, let's roll with this now. Let's figure out. And or today it's like today I can't. Today I can't even. My
Mm.
kids are acting cray cray, and I need to go do
Yeah.
it. Like, well, I'm gonna come back when I do have that emotional energy to we're in a positive mindset to be able to come back and do it because that's when I'm gonna do good work and probably actually be efficient instead of just wasting time or just yeah, spinning out because I feel like I have to. So I think internally, like that's a big thing that I've learned for the art business. Not only has it helped me, what I'll talk about the retreat host in a second, but even the art business to learn the steps to make it an actual successful self-promoting. I don't know about self-promoting, but like perpetuating art business. Like a lot of those things that we like the email list and these things, like I'm already implementing those on the art business side like how to even put reels up about my prints and my art. Like I wasn't really doing that. Like I would post it once and be like, oh, I guess someone liked it. They don't want to buy it. But instead, like, no, like you tell them about it again or make this offer, like show them it this way or, and present it in multiple ways. And just everyone's not going to see it every day. So post it again and let people see it. There's people out there to remind myself, to have convinced myself. There's people out there that want to see my art and even buy my art.
Yeah.
And so I need to be the one who does them a service of making sure they can see it and
Mm.
not just hide it. Okay, I guess I didn't like that. And, I love doing art markets when we're back in the States, but I'm not there 2 or 3 years at a time. And so I can't rely on that all the time. And so I have to be online. And so I think those being confident of that and that mindset, even on the art business side, has really, really helped. I just finished my art collector funnel, email funnel on Flowdesk, and I felt really proud of
Well,
myself. So
hello there.
that
Like
I
setting up
know.
funnels and
Thank you.
everything all by yourself and not even
I
having an
know.
email list or like,
I
hey, make an
know.
email.
I know. So I did a funnel for that. And it just felt really good. It's like, I can learn how to do this too. And in 6 months, I may come back like, oh, wow, that was a mistake. Like I did that wrong. But well, then I'm going to learn from it and we're going to make it better. And so that feels really nice and doesn't feel so cringy anymore. I don't feel like I have to be the really nice, friendly artist or the pushy salesman. I can be the person I want to be in the middle, that confident, like, no, I do have something to offer. And I'm available just for friendship if that's what you want, and for relationship if that's what is what you're valuing. So that's amazing. For the retreat, just to have done something so big, I think we laughed about it so much. Like I have like low followers on Instagram, like
Yeah.
no email list. It's like I just was like straight out of the gate, like we're gonna do something really big, which is very much my personality to do that. I
Yeah.
mean, like we live in a crazy place in Southeast Asia. Like usually start with big things, like scary things, like all these things, and so that very much it fits with me. The other things we have done has been clearly about helping other people, setting up a clinic, doing church work, different things like that. Like it was kind of like under the shadow of something else. Like, oh, it's for them. So if you don't like this, it's for them. But this was just me,
Hmm.
my art business. And so, and to have, first of all, having to convince myself to be confident enough to do it, and then I've done it, feels so good. And now to have done it once, to see the pieces, some of it I planned, what I really wanted to be a part of the retreat. And then some of it, they just happened. But I was like, oh, I want that to be in every retreat to move forward. I'm really excited about that. And so, and to learn some things that I need to have, like translation help. For me, to the final thought I had on the retreat and being the retreat host is just I really stepped into loving the role of the host more than the art teacher, the host.
Mm.
And yes, I have watercolor insights and tips to share. Yes, I have things I can teach, but I really, really resonated with this idea of the most of the people that came were not, there's one lady who's a professional artist and everyone else it's a hobby.
Mm.
It's just fun. They really haven't been doing it that long. And so to set the stage for them to be able to play with and to express their creativity freely through, like one lady was just doing, like she would be painting a sky, but she'd be using like lime green and just
Mhm.
or like colors that mostly would never reach for, but it was so beautiful to her. She was just sharing how her whole life she's always felt like if I don't follow the rules,
Mhm.
then it's not okay to do, it's not acceptable.
Mhm.
So then I just didn't. And so I was like, why? Like paint, like what do you want to put in the sky? Like put fluorescent pink and put the lime green and put all these things. And so, I'm teaching this concept, like I taught a day on clouds.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is what I'm choosing, but how do you want to paint this or what colors do you want to use or how, do it differently. I really, really, really liked the idea of creating that safe space for them. It
Mhm.
requires work to set it all up. It requires time to make sure they feel safe. There's going to be no criticism. There's going to be no comparison. There's going to be no, like, that's a hard thing to achieve with a group of women. But to be able to offer that to them and all of them across the board, like they resonated with that. Like there's
Mhm.
like an emotional, spiritual part to that was really important to all of them. They're like, we love the art teaching, but that, like you gave us that. And I feel like I can go back and I have permission to experiment with creativity, to try new things, to try it differently.
Mhm.
And we love watercolor, like I love watercolor tutorials and I learned so many things, but how many of us at the end of that feel permission?
Yeah.
This is me. Like this has been my upbringing, like very like you have to do it just like this. And to give women who grew up in that mindset, like it has to be just like this or it's wrong, to give them permission and to feel freedom, like that's not true at all. Like take this tutorial and use different colors, move the tree around, do it all wrong. But does your soul feel like it's able to be expressed through that? Like to see them have that experience was really powerful for me. And wherever I go, like wherever it's going to be, whatever other teaching I include, like I want to keep that piece there for people because there's a lot of people who do need that.
Yeah. And how incredible is it that you went from like not really believing in this to impacting people, giving them amazing, incredible, memorable travel experiences, and to be able to hold the space for someone to feel permission to try different things, to do what's joyful for them, even though it means that they would have to break rules. And that's what it all boils down to, right? Really, truly, the idea behind launching something, behind taking your business seriously, behind having those uncomfortable sales conversations is because you were called to do this, right? You were called to create a space for this. Like these women, they didn't even know, but like they needed that through providence, through inspiration, through intuition. Like they wanted it. And the container they wanted, you were the vessel to birth that.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing to like have that belief in yourself to step up and be able to impact the world this way? There's power in that, to like the way that you reflected and you were like, I did it, I created that space. There's so much power in that for you, right? And so, for me, I think just seeing you stay consistent with the sales throughout the whole year, because you started working with us in December, your retreat was actually happening in November. So you had quite a long runway till your
Yes.
retreat. And a lot of people, once they wrap up the work with us, they slide back, right? Because they haven't mastered the habits. But you kept going. I could see like you're showing up all the time on your stories, you're putting all those carousel posts, you're sending the emails, and I'm like, she's putting in the work. And you might not even know this. So by the way, like, with your retreat, let's talk a little bit about the numbers. So you made a total of $8,000 in revenue, yes? How many people ended up
Mm-hmm.
joining your retreat?
Six ladies came and
Mm.
joined me in Thailand from all the way from the US. Like
Yes, which
that's
is
a
phenomenal, right?
huge. Yeah.
I mean, I just recently traveled from Canada to Thailand. That's not an easy trip to make. So you inspired all these women to travel across the world into this whole new culture, which is so much so different and vibrant and just of the polar opposite of the culture in the US. And they came inspired by you and the connections that you made, right? Any idea how much your email list has grown from zero
So the
to
last I looked was 90 people on my email list.
amazing?
From if there was a negative number that it could be signed to an email list, I probably had a negative number. Like this was like it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you grew it, and like most people might think that it's like a smaller number, but it's really not when you're doing high ticket. When you're doing retreats, 90 is a really awesome number. So you're growing this like amazing intimate email list. you've grown your, like, the number of posts too, like, all your marketing reps that you've put in has been so much. So that's where I was getting at, is you have put in the reps. So you might not even realize it, Kristen, but in my eyes, your biggest win has been like you stepping into your power and seeing you put the reps in, right? Now, in the coming few years, you are always going to look back on 2025 and be like, damn, like I put those reps in. This is why my launch is so much easier now. This is why my sales have increased. It's because I built that habit. So you were able to build those habits. And to me, like that's what sets you up for future success, right? So, final question. If an artist or a maker or a small business owner is watching this and they're still feeling a bit unsure about joining Creative Course Launchpad, what would you want them to know about working with me and Nahush?
I would say if you are ready to see your idea come to pass, I'm not talking about do you think you can, like you
Mhm.
want to see it happen, do it. Work to sign up to work with you guys. Working with you guys has been different than any. I'm not gonna just join another course for fun. Like I've seen a lot of courses out there, and I'm just like that's not what I've wanted. But working with you guys has been so transformative, and all these things that we talked about, and so do it. And it's hard work, it's a lot of work. But if you're ready to put in the work, if you're that eager to see whatever idea this is you're in your art business that you want to see come to pass, that you're willing to, like, you're thinking, oh, the work isn't that hard, like I'll do the work, I just don't know how or what or where, then do it, sign up. The coaching you guys give, the coaching that Trupti and Nahush give is so valuable. Even on the tech calls, like I remember there's a couple of times, so it'll be like 30 minutes and my whatever it was wasn't working. It's like an
Yeah.
hour and a half later, he's like, well, I have a dinner appointment, but we'll call again and we'll figure it out. Like, we're gonna get this done. Like the diligence, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm off the clock, like you're on your own now. It was like, no, we will see this through to the end to make sure that you get what you need. And just like you said, like it is on us, like it is our responsibility it is our business, it's our everything. And so to internalize that and to learn it, we have to put in the work. But to have you guys there for those 4 months to come to you to get advice. And I was laughing when the hoosh of just like, we would get on a call and I was like, I don't have any content. Like, I don't even know what to post. Like, I don't even know what to say. And I was like, Trupti's giving me 10 ideas, like within 10 minutes. So I was like, I wanted to be like, we need to stop the call now. Like, I can't take anymore. Like, let me go and like finish this and like, I'll come back. Like, overwhelmed with ideas with just how you can create. But I'm starting to understand now because a year into this, I'm like, I'm having more ideas than I can
Yeah.
possibly do. And like you're saying, it's the reps, like to put in the time, to put in the energy. Like it's not going to always feel like this. It's
Yeah.
not going to always feel like I don't have anything to post. I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to do. Because when you learn, when you have someone who can show you how to do it, model it for you, give you the starting algorithm, and then coach you along, keep you accountable, coach you along on how to do that the first time. Like it doesn't feel like that anymore. I have things to say. I have things I want to post. I have, yeah, so many ideas that I have to like remind myself, not now, not now, stop it, not now. Um, so do it. And even if you just want to talk through, I think y'all still do the pre-sign up
Mhm.
calls of just
Yeah.
like talk, like if you want to know if this is an idea that could work or just talk to Trudy, I would say just sign up for the call and see where that goes because that's what it really sealed the deal for me. I wasn't convinced that I could until
Mm.
talking to you guys and just being like, no, like yeah, if they believe in me and they see this could be a dream, this a good dream, like a life-giving dream for others, then like I want to see this through. So that's what I would say. And be ready to work because it's important.
Absolutely. So important that you ended up on the reminder on getting ready to work. So, first of all, thank you so much for those kind words. I do have something to say about the hard work that is required, but I'm really touched by your warm words. And it was truly an honor bearing witness to you really getting devoted to your business and to watch you shed really heavy limiting beliefs that was stopping you, because this wasn't just about putting your retreat out or like setting up the tech with you or like giving you all the strategies, the email list. It really was about eliminating those deep-seated fears around selling and the ick and like the conditioning and the pressure to please people and like to bend over backwards to make someone else happy, but like not do the thing that nourishes you. So to bear witness to that and to support you through all of it was an immense honor, Kristen. Really, truly was. So I love that. And like coming back to people being ready for the hard work. The thing is, business is hard, being broke is hard, not having your potential realized and not having your vision out into the world and to keep procrastinating it year on year is hard. Working for a shitty boss is hard, right? So you just pick your hard. That's all there is to it, right? So you picked your heart and you did so beautifully, Kristen. And to see this woman in front of me, this like confident, badass retreat host, just like so dialed into your vision and like even your posture, like everything, the glow on your face, it's like all completely transformed. So thank you so much for sharing your story. If people had to find out more about you, where can they reach you?
Okay, I am on Instagram, so Watercolors of Glory on Instagram and Facebook. You can also find me. Kristen Lazarini is my artist page, and then the business page is Watercolors of Glory on Facebook. And where else am I? I'm on YouTube. I think either of those, Kristen Lazarini or Watercolors of Glory, it will take you to my channel. And I have a lot of stuff on there. Tutorials. I have showing you some of my favorite artist tools and ink. I paint with ink and paint with watercolor. I even have, I think, some of the Blue Pine art stuff where I was painting with some of that stuff on there. So if you want to learn more about just like my process or tools that I use or see videos of how I make different things, tutorials, that's all on my YouTube channel. And then my website, so watercolorsofglory.com, has all of my watercolor originals, prints, and then we'll have, whenever I have the next retreat ready, I'm thinking fall again in 2026, but I'm not 100% on the date. So it'll have it all on there. And any of those places, Instagram, Facebook, any of those places, you can find the sign up for my email list on any of those places and can come and join me on my creative soul circle. I don't know. We're workshopping the name here. But just creative, I just love that idea. Creative souls. We're not all professional artists. We're not all even doing creativity in the same way. Maybe you're even using creativity to make your home or to cook amazing meals, or, whatever it is, however you're using that. I have inspiration on there on just creative inspiration, ways to make sure to pause and to be present with yourself and your creativity in different ways. And then I have also tips for watercolor tips and tutorials and just, man, it's just chock full of all kinds of stuff and new collections coming out for my art. So it's all on there too.
Amazing. So we'll leave all the links in the description. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your inspiring story, Kristen.
Thank you.
My favorite part about Kristen's story is not her $9,800 launch revenue or the success that she had from her retreat. It is, in fact, who she became in the process of doing this. She went from, questioning if people were just being nice when they were inquiring about her art retreat to confidently leading a beautiful experience that her guests are going to remember for the rest of their lives. She created a beautiful space in Thailand where people came, immersed themselves in person, and experienced real emotional breakthroughs thanks to making art with her. That identity shift that she went from, oh, I'm just an artist who paints and shares online, to I am a creative leader who creates transformation for my people, that is everything to me, because this is what's going to ensure her lasting success as she continues to grow in her business. Because the truth is that the systems, the strategy, the numbers, they all matter, but none of it actually works until you decide for yourself that this is my year and I'm going all in on my beautiful vision. If you're looking to follow Kristen's footsteps and explore a possible plan of action within Creative Course Launchpad, where you're going to be working intimately one-on-one with me and Nahosh, then there's a link below. You can fill out the form. I'll take a look at your application and we'll take it from there. And if this story inspired you, you'll probably want to watch the next one too. She wanted to host her art retreat in Thailand, but she doubted if anybody would pay her. She had this beautiful vision, but she also doubted if anybody... What the heck was that? Satsuki, can you stop snoring, please? Oh my god. There's a weird sound coming. Maybe that's not true. Maybe she did it before. So maybe I should say that she hadn't sold it in Thailand. Okay. But that was such a good intro. I don't want to re-record it again. I don't want to do that. But I'm a big girl and I should and I must. Okay. What the heck is going on? What is that like weird grunting little sound coming from outside? Oh my god. Okay. She had no email list, less than 3,000 followers, and no sales systems. Okay. She had no email list, less than noise. Noise. Good job, Trupti. Good job. Good job. Okay. Okay, let's do the mid-video CTA. Oh my god, please tell me I've been recording this shit. Send me a name on Instagram or email me and tell me where you're working from. We'll take it from there. So simple, Trupti. Oh my god. Okay. I have guests coming. I need to wrap this up quick. Okay. Okay. And just come and speak to me about your vision and maybe I can... No. No. Nice. Okay, this is done. This is done. This is done.